So, here we have with us the authoritative scholar on whiteness studies, Bret, a distinguished emeritus professor from UC Berkeley, is going to tell us a little bit about what whiteness study is and what it's like to be a whiteness study scholar.
You're putting a lot of pressure on me. Tell me I'm good.
You're good, Bret. You're a good professor.
Okay, good. So, I was just saying before you started rolling the video that I'm a very interesting example of how racial identity is constructed in America, particularly the racial identity that is assigned to other people, not self identification. Although I am quite clearly visibly brown, I am often assumed to be the bare equivalent of a white person. This would have to do with my manner of dress, with my manner of speech, with the fact that my adoptive mommy is white, and thus I may have picked up certain cultural expectations based on growing up in a white family and all of that privilege that goes along with that.
Well, Bret, let me ask you this.
Yes.
What do people that never met you before think you are? And why?
People who have never met me tend not to believe that I can speak. But again, if we're talking about people who've seen video of me, well, 9 times out of 10, the comments are who's doing the bear voice, how did you move the bear? But when we get beyond that, I tend to find that I am, in fact, perceived as Caucasian, and so are these alleged, animal handlers that make me speak.
Well, Professor Bret, there's the question of how one is seen and how one sees oneself.
Well, I see myself primarily as a bear. Prior to moving to California, I lived in an all-talking bear community outside of Sacramento. And I was raised, my biological parents are bears. I have 3 siblings who are all bears. They're married to bears. And so really, my religious practice centers around the great bear. So I do perceive myself as a bear above all else.
Now, was this bear colony that you lived on a nudist bear colony? Was it all natural or
No, no.
no?
No, I believe that our culture was definitely influenced by human culture, in that we lived in hollowed out trees, we used furniture, we ate with utensils, and we wore clothing.
Now, when you say human culture, are you talking about universal human culture? Or are you talking about
No, about the dominant American culture around us.
so the hegemonic Western power, the
So to
Caucasian
speak.
race?
Yes, I mean there were
would you
certain
say?
American pastimes that we participated in a little bit differently. For example, we did not hunt with rifles. We did stand in rivers and catch fish with our teeth, so that was somewhat unique to both, a bear skill set and bear culture. Um,
Well,
I
if
hear
you
something outside the window.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's just a tank rolling by giving instructions in case there's something goes down with North Korea. But I was going to ask you
What?
if there was if there was a closing statement you would make about, since the interview is about to be over, closing statement you would make about your thoughts about whiteness studies and where it might bring us as a culture or as a
Well, I
society.
have mixed feelings about white people. Their culture did highly influence our bear culture, and sometimes I think that it would have been nicer had we been able to live purely as bears, not wear clothes, not have all the accoutrements of quote unquote civilization. Um, I'm not sure really that all of the civilization benefited us much as bears, aside from, greater ability to work outside the community, but that again certainly had a deleterious effect on our indigenous culture. Personally, I believe that the white man is just a culture raping maggot on the face of humanity, but nonetheless, it's very interesting that I am often perceived as being white. And on top of that, I do have an adoptive white family that I love very, very much. So I do want to say that the problem lies with the power that white people have and not necessarily with the aims, goals, or intentions of individual white people.
Well, Professor Bret, thank you very much for being here with us today, and I hope you come again.
Thank you. Oh, bye-bye. Bye-bye. Do I get a cookie now?